What's up, Zinger Nation? Welcome back to Moon or Bust, your home for all things altcoins and DeFi. Today, we have a sick episode coming at you. I'm going to bring on my co-hosts now. We have the DeFi developer himself, Brian Moir. How you doing today, Brian?
Doing all right. My back is killing me, but I'm happy to be here.
Great, man. I'm actually having some audio issues right now. I can't hear y'all, but I'm just going to roll with the punches. We also have Ryan, Exit Liquidity McNamara. How are you, Ryan? I'm not going to be able to hear you. Let me try to figure this out. Y'all, do me a favor.
Can you hear me, Ryan?
Chat about the markets real quick.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, Brian. I'm doing well. I would ask Logan how he's doing because I know he loves to be asked that, but unfortunately he cannot hear us. Yeah. But yeah, let's get straight into the market update. We got some news for you guys, and then we'll be interviewing BitBoy Crypto. So definitely stay tuned for that. The markets have been going crazy. I would be saying, it's a great day. I love my life, but a couple days ago, I did buy that mutant ape. It's gone down. I told you guys I keep you updated. The price floor is around 5 ETH now. I got it for 7. So I'm gonna hold it. I think it's a blue chip NFT. I think it'll go up once ETH starts slowing down. I think a lot of people just want to be in Ethereum right now while the prices are ripping. So, I mean, it is what it is. I wish I had a little bit more ETH. That 7 ETH, I kiss goodbye for that. I kind of wish I held it for this run up, but there's not much you can do. And I think the price floor is holding pretty strong, right around 5. That is if ETH doesn't keep ripping. I mean, we're at $4,000 right now per Ethereum, just about. All-time high was right around $4,300 to $4,400. So we're getting really close to a new all-time high, which in my opinion is pretty surprising because, I mean, Bitcoin's at right around $50,000. So, I mean, we're still about 25% of the way to a new Bitcoin all-time high, yet we're only about 5 to 10% away to a new Ethereum all-time high. So we see Ethereum leading the markets yet again. Brian, you have any hot takes with Ethereum and Bitcoin right now?
Well, I want to start off saying that I think you'll be just fine with your ape. I think that it was still a good buy, a good purchase rather, and you'll make a good return. It's a solid staple now of the future generation of NFTs. I mean, it was CryptoPunks, now it's Bored Apes. Now you got the mutant, you're a part of that ecosystem. I think it'll be great. For Ethereum, I am super excited to pass 4K and hold. It looks like it got held back at the 4K mark. It didn't quite make it. It did make it past it, then got rejected pretty quickly. BTC is holding up above 50K, which that's always exciting. That's a great thing. Again, time after time, we're calling these shots. We're calling these prices. Us three, it doesn't matter. We're right. That's just how it works.
You guys got to stay tuned in. We've been making really good calls lately. We'll see where it goes. Minus my NFT, we've been making some good calls. I have a new call to make. I think we will be seeing a $57,000 Bitcoin within the next week. So you heard it here first. I think we're going to 57K.
I like it. I actually like
4K. Bitcoin is now following Ethereum. That's just the way it goes in 2021. Ethereum is no longer an altcoin, and I, for one, am excited to see Ethereum flip Bitcoin this market
cycle. Oh shit! So you changed your mind, man. I've been saying that all summer long, and you said no, it's not going to happen. Why did you change your mind, Ryan?
I said there's probably like a third chance that it happens. So I still think that it's a possibility. It's definitely not inevitable at this point. A lot of people still don't even know what Ethereum is. I think Bitcoin has a lot of buying pressure when it comes to institutions getting in on Bitcoin. So it's definitely going to be a big battle for Ethereum to flip Bitcoin. But I'd say it's probably 50% chance at this point. This market cycle, I think I don't know about more likely than not, but there's definitely a good chance at this point.
I think so too. I agree with that. I think 57 is a little high, but I like the 55 range. I think within the next week, 2 weeks, we're going to see 55. I think we're going to see Ethereum push the 4,200 mark and Bitcoin the 55, 57 mark. And I think that's when we're going to go a little bit more sideways for a bit, or we're going to rip to all new highs everywhere around. I mean, someone already mentioned Solana is ripping. Yeah, that's my boy. That what did I say? Solana Gomez. That's my girl. It's going to just keep on popping. It's going to keep on rolling. I'm all about it. I like it more than a Binance Smart Chain at the moment. because of the potential that it has. So crypto's looking good right now.
Yeah, we did even see Solana flip Doge this morning. That was pretty crazy.
Ooh.
Smart contracts or something.
Yeah, that's crazy. Solana has smart contracts on it, so you don't even have to wait. If you're in Cardano and you're waiting for smart contracts, why, guys? Why wait? Why wait? Solana has them. So does Ethereum. So we're at $95 billion market capitalization for Cardano, and we're at a $41 billion market capitalization for Solana. So, I mean, we could see if Solana can compete with Cardano and come to a similar market cap, I mean, we could see Solana around $250. I would not be surprised if we got to that range within the next few months. What do you guys think?
I think it's definitely possible, especially with the SBF backing. FTX is just pumping Solana. They're going to get more integrated into all these different things. We're going to see some cross-chain action going on, connecting to Ethereum, and then a bunch of people are going to be bridging over just for those low gas fees. What about the Solana NFTs? Do you guys think that those have had an impact on Solana's price?
Oh, absolutely. That's what started the whole rip and roaring. That the Degen apes, that's what put it off the map, and now everyone's going, this will actually work. It's not just some random half chain. And also Axie Infinity is now on Binance Smart Chain, which is pretty cool too. Cool. I think we'll take I think probably not Monday because we're not having an episode, but the next episode we might get into that a little bit because that's kind of big news. But NFTs are changing the game again, but even more than they were, back in January or February. So that's really cool.
Alrighty. So I see BitBoy just popped in backstage. I'm going to get the interview started right now. I'll pull my screen up and I'm going to bring Ben on. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's a good day in crypto.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Hey, I loved your keynote at the Benzinga Crypto Festival this week. Thanks for stopping by. And thanks for coming on Moon or Bust as well.
I love it, man. I like the name, Moon or Bust. Let's moon.
Appreciate it. So before we get into crypto, I want to talk cars a little bit. I know you have a Hellcat. Is the Lambo coming soon?
Yeah. So, well, technically, I don't have a Hellcat. I got a Demon. So,
even better.
Okay.
Now, I did have a Hellcat. I had a 2021 Hellcat Red Eye, and it actually got stolen at the airport back in April when I went on a trip to Florida. So, learned the lesson. Don't drive that thing to the airport. And so I bought the Demon. So it's 2018 Demon. It had 18 miles on it when I bought it. So it's a killer car. It's actually faster than the Lambo I've got coming, but the Lamborghini is it's the STO, so it's the Huracan STO. It's the best one.
That thing's amazing. The STO is so cool.
Yeah. So I basically had to go through a dealer in Florida, in Jacksonville, and the GM there had one personally built, and he's going to sell me that one. They got an incentive thing where to get all the incentives as a dealer, they have to wait 3 months to sell it. So it's already in. I'm just waiting until that 3-month date, which will actually be right around my birthday near the end of October. And a nice little birthday present is black. Interior is black and yellow. I'm going to put some yellow accents, kind of as some wraps on the outside to highlight the curves. But I'm super stoked. I mean,
that's
get
awesome.
a Lambo. What is there after that?
That's it.
That's it.
That's the goal for all crypto investors.
Well, we haven't paid for it yet. I mean, we're going to pay for it, all at one time. So we're definitely going to ask if they'll take crypto. But we'll have some money moved over just in case. It's $450K, so it's a freaking
good purchase.
penny.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. That's so cool.
Thanks.
Okay, so if there's anyone out there who hasn't seen your channel before, could you talk to us about what got you into crypto and then what made you want to start making YouTube content?
Yeah, sure. So if anybody watched my keynote with the Benzinga crypto conference the other day, I told the story about how I got into crypto. Just a quick summary is I got into Bitcoin in 2012. It was $12 first time I bought, $11.96, somewhere around there. And, I bought it to pay for a service. I was paying for a software that I was using. It wasn't Silk Road related. A lot of people got I always point that out because when I say I was paying for something, they were like, oh, you probably spent 30 Bitcoin on some mushrooms. No, that didn't happen.
We won't get into that.
So, no, I used it to pay for a software. And, I sold it all in 2013. What I had in my account, it was a few $1,000s, and took my family on a little vacation. We went down to the beach and paid off a couple bills, and I thought that was it. Then in 2014, Mt. Gox got hacked, and I thought that was the end of crypto. So I bought and sold a little bit in between 2014 and 2017, but 2017 was when I started. I was just sick. Like, I was looking at the price going up, and I kept calculating how much money I had, because I had spent over $10,000 on Bitcoin in between about 10 and 60 bucks.
Wow.
And so, thinking about how rich I should have been, and I was there like struggling to pay bills and, buy Christmas Christmas present for the kids and stuff. And I was just like, man, I really missed out on this opportunity. I wonder if there's any way I can salvage it. And so I decided to go all in on crypto because I really believed in it. I love decentralization. I hate, the techocracy that we have to live with that tells us what to do and runs our government really these days. And so the idea of crypto really reverberated with me. And so in 2018, I decided to start a YouTube channel. It was going to be a cartoon. That's where BitBoy came from. And over time, like, it just wasn't a time where people wanted to have fun content because it was a bear market. And so one of my friends, he encouraged me like, hey, start news videos. People care what you have to think. You've got a good way of communicating. So started the channel for about 2 years. Nobody watched. And then all of a sudden, starting in January of 2020, things really started blowing up. And, now we've got the biggest community in all of crypto.
No, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. So you've been in cryptocurrency for quite a while. I know Brian, he got some Bitcoin back in 2012 or 2013. So he feels your pain there, getting in at such a cheap price, if you would have only simply held. But I mean, that is what it is. Yeah, I mean, that's cryptocurrency for you, though. And then you go down the rabbit hole, you learn so much. And there's so many different projects out there. So I'm interested in knowing, what are some of your all-time favorite cryptocurrency projects? And also, did you ever have any favorite cryptocurrency projects you were really bullish on, say maybe back in 2017, 2018, during the ICO craze that actually went bust?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got a good one there.
Okay.
I'll start there, and then I'll go with my all-time favorites. The one that went bust was called Spective. It was SPECTIV, and the idea of it, or the ticker symbol was SIG, and the idea of it was awesome. And this is what we see with a lot of these ICOs that went bust, is the ideas are great. Similarly to like during the .com bubble, the .com boom, like Pets.com was a great idea. It was just 20 years too early. I mean, you look now, there's what is the one now?
Chewy?
Barkbox,
Chewy. Yeah. Like, that's basically Pets.com, And so it's just the idea was too early. And so this was what we are seeing now with Oculus, and what we're seeing now with Seek VR, some of these virtual reality projects. It was just ahead of its time. It was a virtual reality platform where you could go to different sporting events. Now, this was before the pandemic, so we didn't know, this would be a thing down the road, that was super relevant. But you go to concerts, you go to sporting events, you could go to theme parks and ride roller coasters in virtual reality. And I just thought, man, this is such a great idea. I think this is going to be huge. And this project doesn't even exist anymore. That was one, and I lost a lot of money on that one. At the time, it was a large part of my portfolio. I was like, this is the coin I'm going all in on. And so I put a bunch of money into it, and then it went to literally zero. It's not even around anymore. They do no development on it. So that's one, my friend, who was the person that encouraged me to do the news videos early on, like, that's the big joke between us always. We still talk about SIG. Like, that was the one. We spent hours trying to learn how to use a decentralized exchange to get it too. 6 hours I can never get back. But because that's how long it took back in the early days to use a DEX to try to figure it out. It took me 6 hours to make a trade.
It's very complicated.
It was extremely complicated. I mean, I had every, tab known to man open on my Chrome browser trying to figure out how to do it. But as far as favorite projects, obviously, Ethereum is probably my all-time favorite project. I mean, I absolutely love the decentralized internet. I know now we've got Web3 and we've got other projects, Polkadot, they're working on similar stuff. But I mean, Ethereum's really the one that started this movement. And I'm just not a fan of the few making decisions for everybody. And I hate that. I go totally against that in every regard. And so because of that, I love a decentralized internet. And I think it can actually, this is something I say a pretty good bit, is that, people always love to say crypto and blockchain, it's in the Wild West, right? You guys heard people say that?
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
It's the Wild West. Yep. That's a lie. The internet is still in the Wild West. And so decentralization and blockchain has a way to actually stabilize a lot of the deepest and darkest and worst parts of internet technology and the way it can be used. I mean, I always like to use the example of, we should not be living in a world where an 8-year-old can grab his mom's phone and pull up hardcore pornography in like 1 minute.
Right.
Seems like a pretty big, gap there between what we should have and then what's reality. Now, for its consenting adults, whatever they want to do, but children shouldn't be able to do that, and yet they can do that all the time. It's a big problem in schools, and I could go on and on about it, but that's a big flaw with the internet right now. And blockchain through identity verification, I think one day, you're going to have your phone tied to your identity. We know Google has the ability to censor images that go on the search results. So we know phones have that ability too. So even, person to person, a 14-year-old can't be sending a 14-year-old pictures on their phone and stuff like that. Their identity would be tied to it. They just couldn't see it. The phone would not allow it. So that's just one example of something I think is a really big flaw in the internet. The blockchain can solve very easily. And then we've got tons of other problems out there, from identity fraud to, credit card fraud. So many things that can be tied in a better way to our digital identities, which Cardano, might play a role in as they're working on a lot of that stuff, trying to win a contract with the European Union. But back to Ethereum, I think it can solve through smart contracts basically every major problem we have on the internet. So it's got the biggest development community. I made a lot of money on Ethereum over the years. We were telling people to buy it when it was under $100. People that listen, they're doing very well right now. People that didn't listen, they continue to kick themselves, and hopefully at some point they got in. Cardano is also a project that I do love. It's like an Ethereum competitor, but some of my favorite projects, just to kind of list a few outside of Ethereum, Cardano, Polygon, Cartesi, VeChain, Chainlink. These are some of my favorite projects.
Yeah, you pretty much named all of mine. You should tell Ryan Cardano one more time, just so he gets it. See?
Yeah, no. Let's dig into that for a second. So Ryan, you aren't bullish on Cardano as much as some of the rest of us are. Maybe you could explain why.
Yeah, first, I'd like to clear this up. I am bullish on Cardano. I think we'll probably see between $8 to $12 by the end of this market cycle for Cardano. So I think there's really good returns to be made, but I like to invest more so in the community and the ecosystem. I know Cardano has a great community around it, but they don't really have much of an ecosystem going on because they don't have smart contracts released yet. So I like to see the adoption. I like to see the value locked, say, on Solana with the Serum Dex, for example, has over $1 billion now, and it's about half the market cap of Cardano. Ethereum obviously has like over $100 billion locked at this point within its ecosystem, and the most users by far. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to all of this stuff, but I think that Cardano's promising a lot, and hopefully they deliver, but we haven't seen too much be delivered yet. So, I mean, maybe I'll get more bullish on Cardano once those smart contracts are released and I see how that ecosystem develops, because yeah, it sounds great on paper, but until we actually see it play out, I'm personally not invested.
Yeah, I think that Cardano has a lot of big followers, especially because of Charles Hoskinson's presence. But Ben, I'm curious to hear what your take is, why you're so bullish on Cardano over something like Solana that already has the ecosystem going for it.
Yeah, well, I would say Solana is all scam money, but that's a whole different story. Now, we love Solana as a project. We love the Serum Dex. We think I've been bullish on Solana forever, but Digital Currency Group, who runs all of crypto in roundabout ways, has their hooks in that thing, very solid. And look, if you think that the Solana pump we've had this week is based upon its growing ecosystem, then I've got a bridge to nowhere to sell you. Because why is it pumping? Because just last week it was reported that the number one coin institutional money was going into was Solana. Number 2 was Cardano. Number 3 was Ethereum. For the first time ever, Solana was number 1. And right after we get this news, it pumps like 70%. Big shocker. The big money drives the entire ecosystem in the markets, and that's what we saw. It has nothing to do with their growing ecosystem. For Cardano, with their ecosystem, like I love to talk about, like when it comes to debates I have with people, it's always like to have timelines, like, people talk about, Bitcoin having a lengthening cycle. Like, okay, when's the date when we can say that is or is not true? I like to have things that we can look at to say, okay, you're right, I was wrong, or vice versa. This is one of those things with Cardano. Like, yeah, great. You have 9 days left to make that argument. You got 9 days left to make the argument that they have no ecosystem, right? After that 9 days, you're going to see Cardano is going to be the fastest, most explosive growing ecosystem we have ever seen in crypto. And it's not even going to be close. So 2 months from now, its ecosystem is going to be probably 5 times bigger than Solana's. And that's probably not an exaggeration. If you look at all the projects that are lined up to launch on Cardano, it blows Solana's away. Now, Solana's growing, it's doing well, but 2 months from now, you're just not going to be able to make that argument. And the thing that I don't like about the Cardano haters is and really what I don't like about haters in any realm of the world is they're just constantly moving the goalposts. You know, at first it was like, well, they don't even have anything. So then they get all their code together and they're like, okay, well, now they don't have a mainnet. They're not even launched. So then they launch their mainnet. Then they're like, well, the roadmap is too slow. They're never getting smart contracts. Well, here come the smart contracts. Like every piece of the way has been criticized, but at some point, that decision point is going to be now, and all of those arguments are going to be invalid. And so that's coming very soon. I love Charles Hoskinson. He's one of what I believe to be one of the few authentic people in crypto. I don't believe anything that comes out of the mouths of anybody from Grayscale or anybody from Coinbase or anybody from CoinDesk or Cointellai. I don't believe any of those people. Charles Hoskinson Charles Hoskinson is somebody that you can actually listen to, and he may be wrong about something, but he actually believes what he says. You know, Eric Voorhees, Alex Mashinsky, these are other people I put in that same category. So I definitely believe that Cardano is going to be everything they say it's going to be. And it's got 71% of the total supply locked up in nodes. So from a price perspective, it's already going to crush it. So, you know, I'm just waiting for the ecosystem to match the hype, and it is going to happen. But fact is, there is no real relationship, just like I told you with Solana. There's no relationship between the price of a project and the fundamentals in its use case. There's just no connection, especially at this point
during a bull
market. Yeah. So with Cardano, there's no connection between the speculation and what they actually have already. But when they launch a smart contracts, that should strengthen the speculation. But it'll be many, many years before we actually see a connection between successful projects and the price.
Awesome. So you mentioned something earlier about lengthening cycles. I think that'd be a great segue into our next question. So you say that the bull run is going to end by this year, correct? Or
by this month? Yeah.
By the end of this year, by this month, really?
Yeah. So September 28th is a date that I've said for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years now. There's a lot of evidence to base that off of. Now, the individual date is not important. I'm not Nostradamus or BitBoy Stradamus, as some people say. Like, I don't have the exact date. The thing that's more important is to understand that's a marker. That is a marker for approximately when the bull run for Bitcoin should end. It's based on something called the Golden Bull Ratio. When you look back at the history of the Bitcoin cycles, they're evenly matched between the first half of the cycle before the halving and the second half after the halving. Or the halving. So we know generally when this should end. Now, I've always said give or take a week. Now I'm starting to think maybe 2 weeks. We could go into the middle of October, possibly around the 4th, you know, somewhere between the 12th and the 15th. But that's me just trying to pad just in case I'm wrong. I still think it's going to be by the first week of October. It's going to be over. We're going to see explosive movement for Bitcoin over this month. And then next month, this thing is going to die down. However, altcoins are going to run for considerably longer. I've always said between Halloween and November, but I do believe because we only have one altcoin cycle to base that off of, we have 4 Bitcoin cycles. We've got one altcoin cycle. So because of that, it could be longer, it could be shorter, but I would definitely lean towards a longer altcoin season. I've always said Thanksgiving should wrap it up, but could possibly go, you know, to Christmas. Somebody says I make all my predictions based on holidays, which I never realized.
Well, they're good. It's a good time differentiate to make sure you see what time frame you're looking at, because you know, Christmas, Halloween, 4th of July, all that stuff, you can break it up pretty easily. I get that.
Exactly.
So, are you surprised that ETH is leading the way right now? And then also, what do you expect BTC to be around during that peak?
Okay, so I do not find it surprising that Ethereum is leading the way. Ethereum definitely, EIP 1559 is what kicked us off. And we knew EIP 1559 was going to have some significant price action on Bitcoin. It's not a buy the rumor, sell the news event, kind of like the Solana hackathon, which is that's all a joke. But, you know, this is actually a fundamental thing that affects the price because it makes Ethereum deflationary instead of inflationary. And now it's looking like, you know, recently more deflationary than even Bitcoin. So it was just supposed to make it less inflationary, but in some regards, it is moving maybe to deflationary. So that's a fundamental effect, you know, of supply and demand that does, you know, compound into factoring into the price. So it doesn't surprise me, though. Someone asked me last week, they said, what's going to hit an all-time high first, Bitcoin or Ethereum? And I said Ethereum, and it looks like that could be true. I don't have let me pull up the chart right now and take a quick, or pull up the price. Yeah, Ethereum's at 39.63. It's just been hovering right around 4K. So, I mean, we are less than $400 away from an all-time high for Ethereum. So I can't imagine Bitcoin pumping up, $14,000 from here and Ethereum not ticking up 400. So Ethereum is going to hit all-time highs first. I've always said that, one of the markers for this bull run is going to, and I keep referring back to predictions I made 2 years ago. And the reason for that is pretty simple, is now that we're very close to all of these timelines that I've talked about for a long time, it's important for people watching and understand I'm not making these predictions based on last week. Like, these are all numbers and dates I've had in mind for 2 years now. So when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum specifically, I've always said that one of the markers of this bull run would be, by the end of it, Ethereum will be a household name. By the end of 2017, Bitcoin was a household name. Didn't mean everybody was invested in it, but during that peak, everybody knew what Bitcoin was. They could tell you it was digital money. They may not have bought it, but they knew a friend who did, or they saw something on CNBC. They knew what Bitcoin was in a very loose sense. By the end of this bull run, Ethereum will do the same thing. So it's always outperformed Bitcoin ever since it was around. No reason to think that that's going to, not continue. So, as the returns for Bitcoin get smaller and smaller over these cycles, it only makes sense that people would shift more towards Ethereum. So as far as top price for Bitcoin, my original price when we were looking at, a super explosive bull run was around the stock to flow number. Its number was $289,000, the stock to flow commodities chart that's applied to Bitcoin. I thought we'd see a $300,000 Bitcoin, but unfortunately we saw a lot of manipulation from the institutions, as we always see. It chopped out 3 months out of this bull run. So that means that we are no longer looking at a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 Bitcoin like a lot of people believe. You can't just chop 3 months out and get to the same price. So in my opinion, $100,000 to $120,000 will be the absolute tops for this bull run. In the craziest, most wild, moonish prediction I could think of, maybe it runs to 150 to 160K, but I don't see that happening. I definitely think somewhere, I'm looking specifically about $110,000 to be the top, right there between 100K and 120. It will hit 100K this year, though, and it's going to happen fast. This is all going to happen very soon.
So what do you think about, are you familiar with Benjamin Cowan, his lengthening cycles?
Yeah, that's the guy who I always talk about. I like him. I've had him on the show. People think I don't like him because I always talk about his lengthening cycles, but he's got a lot of influence out there, and I just happen to think he's wrong about it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, no one knows, right? We'll have to wait and see.
Was that the question?
If you have more thoughts on your case against the lengthening cycles, I'd be curious to hear.
Sure. Yeah. So, I've never believed in a lengthening cycle. Now, look, it may be a week longer, but basically his premise is it's going to be many months longer. A lot of people believe that we're going to be peaking out in 2022, and that's simply just not going to happen. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of technical reasons. There's a lot of fundamental reasons. And more importantly, there's a lot of manipulation reasons that we're not going to see that. The big talking point from the government lately has been inflation. When have you ever heard the government warning people about inflation? That doesn't even make sense, right? So you got to wonder what's really going on. In the fall, maybe late fall, we are going to be moving from inflation to deflation. I understand it defies logic. We see all the money printing. We saw the stimulus. But now you look at Wells Fargo cutting personal credit accounts, also cutting corporate credit accounts. I know someone this happened to. Why would they be doing that? They're trying to hold on to more of their own money. We have the eviction moratorium that was, tried to be extended at all costs, they say. Of course, for political reasons, the administration wanted to make it look like they were trying to put that in place for votes, but that's over, which means you're no longer protected from eviction if you can't pay your rent, which means you actually have to pay your rent. Most of the people, by the way, that were granted that moratorium could work, because we know only 50% of jobs in America were shut down on average. 50% of all jobs in America during the deepest part of the pandemic were still considered to be essential, Okay. So the point here is this, is that there's a lot of free money train that is stopping. Why is the government stopping the free money train? Well, that would be because the government itself is also trying to hold on to their money. We're looking at bond yield tapering, which is the key to this whole thing that will be happening probably sometime in November, between October and November. That is going to have a big impact on the economy, and that has a big effect on the stock market. We're going to look at stocks going down at the end of this year. The stock bull run will be over by the end of this year. So not only are we looking at crypto, not only are we talking about stocks going down, but the entire economy is going to take a big hit. At first, it's going to seem very positive, though, because what happens is that places have to stop. When the dollar becomes more valuable, that means that companies and retailers, they drop prices on stuff. But when they do that, they're making less money, which eventually leads to job cuts and people getting laid off. Right now, anybody who wants a job can go get a job. By next year, that will no longer be the case. So because that deflation is kicking in the fall, it lines perfectly with every timeline that I've put together. And so I can't believe that there is going to be a lengthening cycle. Look, cash will be king come winter. Cash will be king once again. And I know that is antithetical to every crypto argument that we've been making for years, but the government's about to pull the rug out from under us. And I believe that part of this is going to be USDC playing a role as the digital dollar, meaning there will be more demand for it. When you move to a digital dollar, you take away the geographical borders around being able to get access to your money. That's going to create a higher demand across the world for the US dollar. And I think that that's going to also have a big impact on the deflation. We're seeing the dollar index rising as we speak. So there are a lot of factors, in my opinion, that point towards deflation, black swan event coming in the fall, in December, sometime in between October and December. And Bitcoin is not going to thrive this time. And this is good for Bitcoin. It's great for Bitcoin that this is going to come at the exact end of what should be the bull run. Imagine if this had happened 3 months ago. There would be no more bull run. So it's really advantageous. That's why on my channel, we really preach to people, you want to sell the tops and buy the bottoms. That's how you change your life.
Gotcha, man. That was a whole lot to take in. I didn't even, I never thought of it that way. That's such a really creative way to think about it, because I think you're absolutely right. That never really crossed my mind, how it being in a bearish or even a downturn cycle is actually a good thing, but then also a larger scale economy bad thing, but then can be transformed into progress and, some really major gains in the future and kind of get us out of this rut we're in because of COVID, all that other stuff. Thank you. That's crazy. That's a great way to look at it. One thing I wanted to ask is, so do you think that this whole mindset on Bitcoin versus Ethereum and pretty much everything you just kind of went through, do you think that might turn people into more of the altcoin or Ethereum maxi over the Bitcoin maxi? Because Bitcoin is kind of becoming a little bit more, not outdated, but just the use case isn't as there as it used to be. And now it's just people who really, really like it. People want to be about it, and big institutions and quote unquote old money now getting into crypto, 10 years too late, but they're back into it. Do you think we're going to see more switch into, besides Grayscale and all those, switch into Ethereum and, some more altcoins?
Yeah. So, technically there's no such thing as an altcoin maximalist. There's no such thing as an Ethereum maximalist, but I like to call myself an Ethereum maximalist as a joke to troll the Bitcoin maxis. But I can't stand Bitcoin maximalists. I think they are the most toxic people in all of crypto. They have become the very thing that they set out to fight in the beginning, which is just the deepest irony of all, like trying to control us. Like, you can't invest in that coin. Like, trying to tell me what to do with my money. A lot of these guys, they just got rich early. Max Kaiser, a lot of the guys that wrote a lot of the books to do the Bitcoin podcast, Matt Odell, Peter McCormick. These guys got rich early. Well, Peter McCormick didn't, but a lot of these other guys, they got rich early off Bitcoin, and they just have held onto this narrative and they won't let go of it. Why? It made them all their money. It's the same exact reason Warren Buffett doesn't invest in a blockchain. It's exactly why Amazon had to wait until Jeff Bezos moved on from CEO to get interested in crypto. Jeff Bezos made all of his money in the traditional system. Warren Buffett made all his money in the traditional system. Jamie Dimon made all of his money in the traditional system. Why do these guys want crypto? They don't. And it's the same thing with the maxis. They made all their money in Bitcoin. Why do they want altcoins to do well? But it's very apparent to me, Ethereum is going to pass, I believe 100%. Ethereum will pass Bitcoin permanently in the next 5 years. I think this year it's got a good chance to touch it and then retrace, maybe pass it by a few $1 million or $1 billion and then go back down. I don't think it'll permanently pass it this cycle, but I think it's got a great chance to pass it at least for a moment, get rejected, then in 4 to 5 years, pass it permanently. Ethereum is such a bigger opportunity than Bitcoin. It's hard to even put it into words. Raoul Pal was actually on my show this week, and he said he believes that the future is a $200 trillion market cap for all of crypto. Let me tell you, the vast majority of that is not going to be in Bitcoin. I can't see Bitcoin ever achieving over a $30 trillion market cap. I've actually said 20, but maybe 30 being super generous. $20 million market cap would basically mean it eats the entire market cap of gold and then doubles that. That would be 20. So I think that's possible. But when you look at the derivatives market, which Ethereum helps to pull into crypto, it's $2 quadrillion. It's $2 quadrillion. It's more money than you can visualize. That's 2/3 of all the money in the world are derivatives. Ethereum and other, blockchain projects in a similar vein can pull those into our market. And when you look at that, that means that crypto has bigger potential than anything we've ever seen in the history of mankind, to be a unifying force of markets. So, and that's not even bringing, that's just talking about derivatives. That's not even bringing in the actual use case of a decentralized internet, which we all desperately, need and want, unless we're going to be living in a big brother society. And I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about the book. We're already there, to be honest with you. So Ethereum is one of our best hopes to get us out of that. So between the decentralized internet, between the derivatives market, there's just no better thing than Ethereum out there over the long term. It's definitely not Bitcoin. So I think it's just a matter of time. Look, somebody explain it like this, is trying to put Band-Aids on something that doesn't work anymore. It's just trying to fix something. It's never going to be a currency. It's digital gold. It does great as digital gold. It's never going to be a currency. And there's nothing that the maxis can do to make that, that dream come to pass. El Salvador accepting Bitcoin is a great example. This is going to be the Bitcoin maximalist worst nightmare. They feel like El Salvador accepting Bitcoin. Yes, everybody's taking it as currency. You know what's going to happen? The people are going to realize that they don't want to spend it because it goes up in value. Yeah. So anybody that gets it is going to hold on to it, is going to defeat the whole purpose of having it as a currency. So I think really this El Salvador experiment is going to be maybe the linchpin and finally driving away that narrative that it is a currency.
Yeah, Ben, I really like your take on Bitcoin and ETH. Earlier on in the show before you came on, we were just talking about the possibility of Ethereum flipping Bitcoin this market cycle. Logan certainly thinks it will. I think there's probably a 50-50 chance or so. But definitely in the long run, I mean, it's almost inevitable, I think. Ethereum will pass Bitcoin's market cap. There's just so much more you can do, especially when you have a 200 trillion, say 10 years down the road, and we have a 200 trillion or even $100 trillion market cap. There's just no way that Bitcoin can be dominant in that scenario. Like you said, it's the digital gold, and it'll be used as a store of value. And like you said, it's a $10 trillion market cap for gold, and Bitcoin's much more accessible, especially 10 years from now. So yeah, maybe 20 trillion, maybe 30 trillion, like you said. But I mean, Ethereum it has so much more potential to do so many more things. So speaking on the trends here, we've seen a lot of new trends in crypto, especially on Ethereum in these past couple of years. First, we saw DeFi. Now we're seeing NFTs. Do you have any thoughts on the future of DeFi and NFTs? And do you see any new trends coming about in the next few months?
No, I don't have any opinions.
Okay. Have you gotten any? Oh, you did? Okay, sweet. Okay.
Nobody's
sure if you like, all right, we'll move on.
You know what? I don't have I have lots of opinions.
Pull in my leg.
Yeah, so I definitely think DeFi, NFTs, and gaming coins are the three niches to watch in the bear market. Because I do believe in a bear market. I believe in a deep, painful bear market, just like we saw last time. The one I didn't believe in, and then it came. So this time I definitely believe in it. And so those three niches, I believe, are ones that have the opportunity maybe to hold the best or to have independent moments where, their use case and their not just their use case, but their actual number of users and what they're putting out will have ability to have some pumps even within the bear market. So those are 3 things to watch. I think with NFTs, this is an argument I've been getting into with my business partner, TJ. A lot of people know him from the show, but he thinks that in the bear market, NFT projects are going to go down, and then the individual collectibles are going to go down as well with them. So like, let's say you have a Bored Ape, let's say it's worth $200,000. Ethereum goes all the way back down to, let's just say, $1,500 after maybe it hits 10,000. And that means that, the Bored Ape is going to, shoot down that same percentage. So it's only going to be worth, $30,000 or something like that. I don't believe that's true. And the reason is because I have spent a lot of time working in the sports memorabilia business, actually. So I used to have, I used to sell signed football helmets. It was really interesting to watch the values of those helmets from week to week. 1 week, we would have a helmet that would come in, and that helmet would, be worth $2,500. The next week, we couldn't get rid of it for $600. And that may be based on all, factors like, maybe somebody got traded and that's now his old helmet, or, maybe a new version of the helmet came out. Maybe a team got a new logo or something like that. So many factors played into that. But the collectibles market moves that way for baseball cards, for Pokemon cards, for football helmets, for movie memorabilia. It's constantly going up and down. Let's start here. Constantly going up and down. So whereas with crypto and the price of the NFT projects themselves, I do think we're going to see considerable bear action. I think within the bear market for the NFT collectibles, we're going to see that same kind of ebb and flow of the prices independent of the price of the collectibles, independent of the price of the coin, if that makes sense.
So do you think that NFTs will actually underperform Ethereum in a bear market? Say that the Bored Ape's worth 40 ETH right now. Do you think it will be worth less than 40 ETH when Ethereum's at $1,500? Or do you think it will probably stay around the same price in Ethereum terms?
Well, I think that it's a great question. It's one I've got to put some thought to. I would say that the thing you have to take into consideration is this. There was less interest in a bear market in general by a long shot. Okay. So guys that were doing YouTube videos, for instance, that were getting hundreds of thousands views on them in the bull market, like back in 2017, in 2019, they were lucky to hit 10,000. Okay. There's less interest. So when there's less interest, that means that there's less demand. And so that less demand would seem to indicate that the prices should drop across the board. But the NFT buyer is not necessarily the crypto enthusiast. Now, they may have become a crypto enthusiast through buying NFTs, but we're seeing through a lot of these mainstream celebrities and athletes, a new kind of buyer come in that is not necessarily super savvy on the crypto markets. I mean, I've done interviews time after time with, different celebrities and athletes. They're like, man, I'm really into these NFTs. I don't really care about Bitcoin or Ethereum. So because of that, that means that even when the interest drops, that there still could be a level of interest from people outside of crypto. And NFT is like, there's no question about it. NFT is the bridge to adoption for crypto, the mainstream bridge to adoption. We're seeing it. We're seeing people who would never be in this space. And the thing that people really discount are the companies that are behind the scenes making all of the moves, getting themselves ready to sell NFTs, kind of like the NBA did with an NBA Top Shot, seeing the NFL positioning itself. We have a call with a professional sports team next week. They're wanting to do something with us with our NFT launching program. So you're seeing Paramount, you're seeing movie companies everywhere. Kevin Smith, director of Clerks, doing Clerks 3. It's got blockchain through it. So we're seeing Hollywood getting interested. And I think this is something we're not going to see stop. So I actually believe, if you were to tell me, would I rather have a Bored Ape or the equivalent amount of ETH, I would say I would probably rather have the Bored Ape because it's going to move more erratically. There may be a better time for me to sell it, on a pump than Ethereum, which is going to be pretty much straight down.
That's fascinating. So Ben, I don't know if you heard the news, but as of this morning, the SEC is reportedly investigating Uniswap and the Uniswap Labs team in the United States. Do you think that these governance tokens should be listed as securities? What do you think is going to end up happening with this?
Yeah, all crypto is a security. Let's shut it down. We had a good run.
All right, guys.
GG. F in the chat. Yeah. Let's get some F's in the chat.
So here's the situation with Uniswap. This is not about Uniswap at all. This is about Ripple Labs. This story that is out today is 100% about Ripple Labs. It is not about Uniswap. This is a diversion. This is a look this way and don't look at what we're doing over here. Because what's going on is that the Ripple Labs case is getting settled very soon. I believe by the end of this month, that will be over. There's a lot of evidence now coming out to support that. I've been sounding like a crazy person for 2 months saying it would happen in the middle of September, but now I'm actually starting to get a little support on that. There's a court date on September 14th that could end up being the final the final nail in the SEC's coffin here. Now, look, the SEC is going to make it look like they won. They're going to do a settlement with Ripple, and they're going to say, like, see, told you they did this. Now we gave them a fine. This is not what the SEC wanted for this case. They are losing the case. They just fired their director of enforcement. The director of enforcement resigned last week after being on the job since January. The second one to resign in a very short order of time. Direct reflection of the Ripple case. I don't have time to get into all the topsy-turvy, muddled, you may not know this, but the lawyers for Ripple were a director at the SEC and the director of enforcement at the SEC during the time the XRP token was launched. That's who's defending Ripple. Yes. So there's so much about this case that will blow your mind, but it's over. This is over. This is not going further. The settlement will probably come this month. Maybe it comes next month, but I believe probably by the middle of this month, towards maybe about the 20th, we're going to get this case over. Now, what does this have to do with Uniswap? Well, the government's got to move on to the next thing. After taking a loss this badly, Gary Gensler, a lizard person, as I like to call him, Gary Gensler has to save face and move on to another big target, something shiny, a shiny object that everybody can be like, oh, now we're scared about Uniswap. Let's totally forget about the SEC failure against Ripple. That's what's going on. Ultimately, there's not much to go after on Uniswap. I don't believe, because of their process for listing tokens. You can basically list anything there and get liquidity. The team itself is not providing the liquidity for every coin that is on there. All they're doing, similar to Bitcoin, is offering an open source way for people to be able to, trade crypto. So I don't think there's much to go after. They could certainly hit them with a fine. Now, Uniswap Labs makes big fees on these transactions, so they certainly do have a lot of money to pay some fines. That's probably where that thing will end up. If you haven't seen a pattern here, you're not looking. The pattern is SEC failure equals fine and settlement for the crypto projects, other than a few that have been given, a few that didn't really launch or couldn't afford to fight. Library's still in the thick of a fight against the SEC. They don't necessarily have the funds the Ripple Labs has. The Kin token from the messenger Kick, they were gone after very, very, very hard. Paragon was shut down. It was a scam. And of course, EOS, they went after them hard for a $2 million fine, I think, on I think it was a $98 million fine on a $4 billion project. So it was about, a very small percentage of what they actually raised. So the SEC doesn't have a winning track record here in crypto, and they're not going to start anytime soon.
Just like BitConnect, they're now trying to sue them 3 years after the fact when nothing was happening. Like, all right, well, we're just gonna throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Absolutely, that's another one of those shiny object things. Everybody's talking about BitConnect all of a sudden again. We're not talking about Ripple.
But I have a quick follow up to that. Do you think that XRP will start trading in the US after that settlement?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Which will be huge.
Yeah, we'll probably see some positioning even before, with some exchanges starting to relist as we get closer to the middle of the month. But yeah, it's definitely going to be trading. And that's the whole thing. They're going to get the fine. They're going to be able to keep trading. And that's why I've said that, in my opinion, for price alone, XRP is the number one coin for the second half of this bull run.
Heard it.
I can see that.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for coming on, sharing some knowledge with us today. I know I learned a lot. I'm sure the audience did as well. We have your YouTube linked in the description below, so people can go check you out there. But if you have any closing thoughts, any shout outs you want to give, or any other places you want the audience to connect with you, the floor is yours.
Yeah, we just launched our BitLab Academy, where people can learn about blockchain if you're new. So it's good for your audience that may not, necessarily be the most advanced crypto users. You guys can check out bitlabacademy.com.
Awesome.
Great, man. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a good day.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Man. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Well, what'd you guys think?
He was awesome. I mean, I learned a whole bunch that I didn't even think about it that way, especially the U.S. economy side, or like even the global economy side. Didn't even think to, I haven't correlated the two in the terms of bear bull market and see what it's going to all kind of come together, piece together. And that's really, really interesting. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so deep in the ecosystem. He knows so much about it, and he's very convincing with what he says. Ryan, you have any thoughts?
So Logan, if we do see $100,000 Bitcoin in the month of September, will you be selling?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, if we do double, that's definitely a sign of a blow off top. I think I would definitely start averaging out of my position. But at the same time, we've seen close to 100% pumps before the bull market was over. So, I mean, there's definitely different takes and a lot of things to take into account. I think that Ethereum's proof of stake might be the blow off top for this crypto market cycle, but only time will tell.
Right. But like he said, he thinks the altcoin market's going to continue on after the Bitcoin top, which I think is really interesting. And I'd love to see that play out because there could be so much that goes on there. And really people will be only focused on the altcoins. It could really kind of change the narrative that BTC is king. I mean, we're continuing to see that BTC dominance slide and the ETH dominance rise. It's over 20% now, which is just crazy. And yeah, I mean, I think he shared a lot of interesting ideas that I really hadn't heard before. And yeah, I mean, well, it'll be great to see what happens,
Yeah,
totally
agreed. I think I heard what you guys said because I had my headphones. My dogs were going crazy, but I think that's spot on. And I think that Ethereum has a lot more room to grow in terms of, just market cap, everything. And Bitcoin is kind of hindered at the fact, someone in the chat said they do have DeFi, they do have smart contracts. They do and they don't, and it's being added years and years later where they're going to have to catch up. The whole time that all these other chains have had them, they're going to have to catch up, and these developers don't always work on these other chains. They're just strictly Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin started it all. It's just like anything else. Bitcoin is the key to this whole movement, to everything that we know and that we talk about on a day-to-day basis. Bitcoin has started, but everything else has kind of surpassed it. And now Bitcoin is like the pound compared to the euro. You don't use one of them anymore. You only use the other, but it still started their whole currency. So there's a lot to say. I mean, I hope that Ethereum, I personally believe Ethereum is superior to Bitcoin, but that's just me in terms of where I want to store my where I have the best store of value, where I have the most functionality, and where I can actually grow in the whole ecosystem in general. But that's not saying I don't not like Bitcoin, because I do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bitcoin is one application of DeFi, right? It's the store of value. And then every other application of DeFi requires smart contracts. So the rest of it's going to be going on blockchains that can handle smart contracts. I'm not entirely convinced about Bitcoin's ability to upgrade or the Lightning Network's ability to really do some advanced stuff that we can see on like fully Turing complete virtual machines like the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine. Yeah, I like that he was bullish about Cardano. He's definitely more knowledgeable about it than I am. I didn't even know about their European Union deal, but that would be huge. I know they're doing a lot in Africa, which is pretty cool too. Crypto is insanely popular over there. It's really cool. Really cool to see that happening at the retail level first. But that's what crypto is all about, right?
That's right. Solana will not flip Ethereum. I'm just gonna say that right now. You can quote me. But that's really interesting what he said about Solana, because he's right. That whole pump, I mean, almost 200% in the last week or two. It's not just because people are looking at, there's a reason this money's coming in, because if you look at the market cap, and that's a whole lot of freaking money that's been pumped into it. And that's just not people, random retail investors putting in their 1,000 to 10,000, maybe even 100,000. I mean, if you're that fancy, but there's something else going on there. but that is a good sign that people believe in it. And even if it's shady, even if it's real, even if it's not, that's still a great sign for it. But he's got a good point. And I've been bullish on Cardano for a while and Solana, but I cannot wait until we see what Cardano can actually do, because I'm a big fan of Charles Hoskins.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, no, I want to highlight your comment real quick. ETH can't scale. No, the mainnet can't scale, but it will have shard chains, 32 parallel blockchains that will scale, and then also other layer 2 solutions and side chains will help Ethereum to scale as well. I mean, that's what Vitalik has been saying forever. So ETH can scale. I don't think many people will be using the mainnet in the long term for most applications, unless you need that heavy level of decentralization. We have run completely out of time. We have Zinger stock trivia starting 1.5 minutes ago. So I'm going to wrap this up now. Thanks everyone for tuning into Moon or Bust today. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash the like button. We had a great show for you, great interview. And we will see you not on Monday. It's Labor Day, but we'll see you next Wednesday.
And we'll get
Peace
the
out,
giveaway
guys.
For the thing. Stay tuned.
We didn't
Twitter.
have it set up. We got
Dojapalooza giveaway next Wednesday, guys.
Go check Benzinga Twitter to win a free $350 ticket or $1,000 VIP ticket to Dojapalooza.
We're giving you more time.
So go check Benzinga Twitter and retweet it, hit it up. We will see you Wednesday. Peace.